Gabiou, and I'm a mixed media artist, and I'm here at the FSCJ North Campus with my show entitled Contemporary Florals. I usually work mostly in abstract, so this is kind of a surprise to my friends and collectors. And this came about for a couple of reasons. I've been working on florals mostly for the last year, and I had some carpal tunnel surgery. That surgery opened up my fingertips, so I didn't have to worry about using a brush and them going numb anymore, so that was kind of a nice surprise for me. Plus, I was instructed by my mentor, Louise Freshman Brown. She inspired me to do the florals based on Mondrian, who is another abstract artist we all know. But what's little known is that he also did some beautiful drawings of florals. So that kind of got me going. I started with my own abstract backgrounds, and then I got my drawing skills back, so it was really fun, and I can tell you about a few of these pieces. I'd like to start with explaining this piece. It is an ode to Gloria OKeefe and her lilies, and it was just an inspiration with my own background and colors. And then this one happens to be an oil palette knife painting. It was painted all with palette knife, which goes way back to what I used to do many years ago. I've done lots of watercolors, and then I went to acrylics, and that is my choice of paints right now, and collage. Now these monoprints were kind of fun. Instead of using a printing press, we used glass and transferred the paint onto the paper, and then let that dry, and then we were inspired to paint whatever subject we wanted to. These happened to take place in Croatia, I have to mention. A wonderful painting trip that I took last summer. So that was so much fun doing that, I almost missed a day of the trip. So these lilies were painted from life, Easter lilies from last Easter. I painted them on my own backgrounds, of course, and I think they turned out kind of strong. This is kind of my favorite. I painted it just looking out the front window of my house where my studio is now, and these are called African petunias. You've seen them around, I'm sure, but it's a new technique for me too. These were my semi-abstract paintings that I did. Had them mounted and framed, and I think they turned out quite good. These paintings are from my Tangled series that I worked on last summer as well. Got lots of texture in this large piece and lots of layers. The texture is pumice and drywall tape and lots of painting over. Fun, just fun to do. This is one of my first of my Tangled series, and it's entitled Weeds. It's not what you think it is. It's basically butterfly leaves and bamboo leaves from my backyard, and it's painted over, completely painted over another painting that already had the texture in it. So it's got lots of cheesecloth, and it's got the drywall tape again, and joint compound that you can make designs with and then paint over. It's just lots of fun. This is the Tangled. Actually, this was my first one, and this is my second. So the weeds would have been my third. I just painted over other paintings and used different backgrounds for each. One's a warm background, and one is a cool background, and they're both painted on the stretched canvas, the gallery wrap canvas. This is the beginning of a series called Remembrance. This was the first one, Remembrance 1, Remembrance 2 behind me. This one I was not happy with because it was too dark, so I went and did a lot of expressionistic brushwork over the collage and over the phthalo blue, and I think it's done right now. And this is the second one. Remembrance 2 has got the collages from trips and so forth, and more texture all through it, and lots of collage underneath, and then the drips to give it a different effect. This one happens to be an award-winning painting, and it's titled Gloria Who. It is a tribute to Gloria Steinem and the rest of the women that did so much for the women's movement. And I think it's a powerful painting and very intense, lots and lots of collage and transfers, paper transfers We've even got some puzzle pieces in here and puzzle shapes. And it's for all of you younger women that don't know who Gloria Steinem is, and men, and all of us. Check her out. She's done a lot to help us all. This collage and mixed media piece is titled Balance and Harmony, and it was featured in my show at the Cultural Center of Ponte Vedra Beach. And here I actually have some beads to embellish it, and here I've got paper towels. Sometimes when you spill paint on paper towels, they're more beautiful than the paint on your palette. So I use that for collage a lot, and these are commercial type of rice paper, and of course lots of acrylic paint, got some drips, and then I finished it off with some beading. And this one was also featured in the show. It was titled Form and Feelings, and it was with sculptor Richard McRae. And this one I titled Mixed Feelings, and I think it speaks for itself. This one, made in Slovenia, was actually flyers that were falling off of billboards, and we felt that we were allowed to help ourselves to them, and took them home and rearranged them into our own composition. And what I should say is what happened to me after doing realism for many, many years. I took a workshop with a non-objective artist, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I did more geometric paintings that year than I have in all the years since then, and I've still been doing it and still am doing them, and they just become more and more abstract and meaningful to me. This one is Vitruvian Man, and it was done with lots of collage and different techniques. I've got the string in there, I've got an extra little piece that I glued on there, and more string that flies freely. Well, this one is kind of my pride and joy. It's probably one of the largest pieces that I've done, and it's actually going to be in a book coming out from Northlake Books later this year, and it's titled Solar Return. And this was not so much texture as pouring of paints and letting it go. And it goes either this way or it goes that way. I've shown them both ways. And I just want to say, if you have the desire to paint, if you have the ambition, go for it. I mean, find a room of your own, read up on it all the time, paint as much as you possibly can, take a class, take a workshop, and just enjoy what you're doing, and it'll change your life.